The following is for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are not responsible for any losses, only the profits.
Happening, Octo Nation, is Charlie. We're going to dive on into some Hennessy Capital. Y'all remember that? The Henny Boys? Boy, were you with us from the beginning, way back? One of the first couple videos I did, was it like 4 months ago, before this was even Canoo? We're talking about Hennessy and how they're the cool guys. They've already done a bunch of specs. We've done quite a few videos on them, but it's been a while. I think it's good to do a recap. I've been getting some comments kind of throughout other videos, people bringing it up again. So I compiled those, and we've got some great information from the Octopus Nation. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted everyone to come together, give some more information. We'll go over it and collectively come up as a big team of smart people, right? Because we're going to be the most educated on it because we got the best team. Everyone's with us. So, going to take a look. Mr. Richard Holcomb, first of all, wants to know, hey, to my untrained eye, HCAC looks like a good cup and handle right now. This was a couple days ago, so we want to take a look at the chart. And it's about time that we looked at the chart anyway. So let's do it. First of all, I see a board that laser beam ray we could shoot right across right about here. So we need to pay attention to this line here, which is 1120. We are currently below it. I don't see any other boards that we can throw other than the red that's already here, so we are technically not in bull or in bear. We are just chilling in this channel until it breaks this channel. And here, we're on either or. Call it what you will, this looks like a good time to buy. How long has it been since the LOI? Since July 22nd. That's been a long time ago. It's like 2 months, over 2 months ago. We had the big break. This thing, you know, did the U thing it always does. We talk about with SPACs, they get excited, come up, scratch back down, come zipping right back up. Well, now it's come zipping all the way back down. You know, part of it was because of this past week where we had all the SPACs selling off. But regardless, this thing tagged all the way down to like, anyone buy under 11 last week? Put your name down in the comments so we can all pat you on the back, please. Love seeing that. Buying almost at the floor. Company like this. I think this, even though this is just chilling in the channel right here, you know, you still got the floor probably around like $10.05-ish cents. The risk to reward on this is pretty darn high, if you ask me. This is one of those long-term plays that I think could be absolutely huge and massive. It's going to take a little bit to adapt, though, because of the first vehicle that they did come out with. The adaptation is going to be kind of hard until some cool people make it cool, right? Just wait till it's in a couple of music videos. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens from there. Cup and handle, boy, I think we might have missed it. I think I was too late responding to that. It was in the past couple of days. I mean, right here, this looks like a big cup. Like we talk about the Beauty and the Beast chip, turn sideways, got the handle. You know, it would have made sense maybe down here, but I mean, it's crashed all the way back down. But again, it could have been forming, but then that big crash that happened, it could have just taken it with it because it gapped down pretty darn hard, you know, all the way to 1063. Technically, yeah, I was kind of doing the cup and handle, but are we saying it's doing it right this second? I don't think so. I don't think that's what he was saying. It might have been a little bit late on that comment, a couple days at least. What do I see here? It looks like we probably have a bull channel that has probably been broke, though. Gonna throw it in a burrito. Whew. A little bit of green salsa verde is coming out the back. That's what I think. So that's what that did give us. Check this out, though. We technically broke this channel because it got tagged here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up here 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times. Back up there. And look, it's broke. So we actually did break out of that channel at the end of the day Friday. So that's happy. Now remember, the horizontal lines carry a lot more weight. So we still haven't crossed this 1121, but just watch it. I have a very strong feeling that it will break that. If you're not in this and you want to get in it to be safer, you would put a play a little bit above it. You'd wait till it comes up, comes back down to retest this again. And then on its way back up, that's where you want to retake an entry. If you're super long, yeah, you can just jump in if you want, but you technically should wait a little bit. It is super low for what this thing is, the potential of it. The fact that they've actually got some things that are rolling, the chassis is basically done, the battery's already done. A lot of crucial puzzle pieces are already done. pretty big. The chart looks okay. It's just definitely hard to read. I will say that if it's been proven and profitable that we've gotten to 1350, it's a lot easier to get to 1350 again once you've already been there. I have a feeling that this will do a decent run before the merger. I don't know when the merger is. Does anyone know? I don't have a date on it yet. I don't even know how they released it. How high will this go? I know you guys are going to ask me. I have no idea. I hope it goes like 40 before. I don't know if I see that though. You know, unless they announce another brand that can go with it. Like, say if they come out and are like, okay, we were talking about like Uber, right? Like, say if they come out and say, oh yeah, we paired up with Uber, by the way. They just ordered 10,000 of our vehicles pre-order. That would get us slamming up. But I don't think, unless we get a huge catalyst like that, I don't think it's going to go too far over 20. That's my guesstimate. Let's move on up. Next thing we're going to take a look at is Miss Lucy B. She said, hey, you should check out Canoo. Everything you said from the beginning, they have redone their marketing and focused on pretty much everything you said. Laugh out loud. I think someone in their team must be watching your videos. So that's really funny to me. I'm going to look at this here, and if it is, I'm going to send them a bill. Just joking. Okay, this is August. I think this is what she's talking about, but this is the only newest presentation I could find. Is this what you're talking about, Lucy? Let's take a look. This all kind of looks the same. I think this picture might be new. I don't think that this picture was here last time. This was somewhere, but I don't think it was here. They do have a car up front. I think that the bus was in the front last time. What do you think? Proposed transaction summary, they went over that. The Hennessy Capital Catalyst for Growth, that all looks the same. Rapid development, maybe more numbers. I don't know. This Oric guy, the Oric Kranz guy, he's starting to grow on me a little bit. I think some of his personalities definitely come out. Other than, you remember that first interview where he's just like standing there like stiff. It was kind of almost like an awkward interview. They didn't give him the very good questions to run with anyway. But for the first interview, you wanted to be a big splash and all that. But him coming out and like playing with the go-kart and smiling as he's turning it, and he did that other video with it the other day. I think that's kind of cool. And then the new video, I think they did a really good job producing it, directing it, and all that. I think it went pretty well. We're obviously always hoping for more for Skateboard Day, but at least we're able to see he's got a sense of humor and stuff. I think it's very, very important. I think this looks kind of new here. Not really seeing what you're saying. Okay, possibly this, bringing up the business to business, talking about this again, the delivery truck. This looks new here. The first true steer-by-wire. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. We've got some new information on that. That picture is old. Talking about the business to delivery vehicle again. Yeah, we've seen that. Is this new? This is going from station wagon. Anyone ever got toted around in one of these minivans from 1980s or 90s? Put your name down in the comments, will you? I think, it is almost time, though, for these little SUVs to get an upgrade. I don't know if this is really it. I think maybe the new Ford Bronco is going to be pretty cool. I hope it's big enough, though. The new Chevy Blazer, I think, was they could have made it a lot cooler, but it still looks like pretty much everything else out there. At least these guys are trying to do something different, and that's why I do like what they're doing. But this picture here does look new. Canoo business-to-business delivery vehicle. I think these things are really cool looking. I think that if you have any business where you could utilize these, I think they'll probably end up being all over them. I do like the fact that they have the longer chassis ones available too, so you can get longer chassis or higher cargo room. Can you imagine having one of these? And then the sport vehicle, this looks kind of new here, this presentation. So I guess it's looking like they're putting a little bit more focus on I am noticing they talked about the UPS looking van, and then now this, and they haven't really brought up the van yet, right? Okay. So it looks like maybe they're focusing on this and the van and the big box van, which is probably smart. Like I was saying before, I think that the splash that they made with the Canoo, they're always going to be known for it, right? I think that It was important for them to do that. They wanted to put a big splash, and I like that they had the ability to do that. Regardless, I still think they would have had a better start if they would have started with this baby right here. You know, it doesn't have to be like the craziest vehicle out there or whatever, but just something that makes sense, like just a 4-door regular vehicle that's going to replace others, like something for people like that want a Tesla but don't have the money to spend. Not everyone can afford a Tesla. They just can't, So they can put one out that's half the payment. I don't know, what's the payment on a Tesla? Do they have just regular financing? I don't know. I think that's still the one thing that's really scaring me on this is the payment for this. I really hope that they do come out with a subscription and or buy out with money down for lease. That way they can pitch either way, because most people are payment driven in this society. Lucy, I'm not still seeing much more on this. I can see that they're putting that other stuff forward. Is that what we're talking about? I think so. I think that's what we're probably talking about. I might be in the wrong presentation. You're going to have to let me know. Regardless, the other thing too, I can't wait to sit in this thing. I want to know if these seats are comfortable, because they don't look comfortable. They don't look like old Cadillac seats. They look kind of stiff. But you never know. I've tried on a pair of shoes before that were like super hard. But you put them on, you're like, wow, these are the most comfortable shoes you ever put on in your life. So you never know. Maybe that's a little bit different, a little bit new. This picture was out there too. I mean, I think this is huge. There's basically the Ford Bronco if you want that, or looks like an extreme sports car, the truck, all that. I can just see the future of this thing be absolutely massive. I don't think that this was there before. This is new. Canoo's comparables. So showing auto tech EV players, they're comparing themselves to BYD, Neo, Tesla, and the mobility platform again. God, can you imagine if they come out and say, hey, Lyft just pre-ordered 10,000 of these, or Uber? I think it'd be so massive for them. They said, remember, we announced like a week ago that they admitted it. The dude straight up said, yeah, we're talking with them about it. We're in preliminary plans. Alternative traditional car ownership, digital first access consumer subscription. So they're trying to copy, like Netflix, Spotify, Peloton, recent auto tech SPACs. They bring up everybody, even Velodyne, which is great. So that's definitely a new slide. So I think this is a new slide. And then they directly compare themselves, even to Fisker. They're saying that they've got 300 employees, where Fisker's only got 49, Lordstown 70. Again, these guys are far along. I like that. Let's move on to Groats Isles. Hey, don't know if you checked out Canoo's Analyst Day just passed. I think that's what he's talking about, the Skateboard Day. I don't know. So what, they have Skateboard Day and then they had an analysis day the next day or something? I didn't even hear about the analysis day. But again, they're not communicating very well on their Twitter or anything. I've reached out to them a couple times and never hear back. He says Patrick Desjardins did a video. He said Patrick Desjardins did a video indicating they are stepping up their marketing game a little. Just FYI. So I think this is coinciding with what Lucy was saying. Is that what you're talking about? That presentation? Is that the presentation? Stephen Rubling said, hey, someone could make a killing in a heavier volume city area with a Canoo van or Uber X cam charge. You can charge premium on 2 front spaces and luxury, as well as being able to load up passengers all in that space. So he's saying, like, if you're an Uber driver, or even if Uber doesn't end up hooking up with them and making an official deal, he said even if you're an Uber driver, like say you're in Miami or LA or whatever, he was saying that this would be a sweet vehicle for you to get because you can charge more. Because I guess like when you sign up, you can charge more if you have like a premium vehicle. I don't know how they dispose of that or count it as that, but I don't know. Cornelius Chong said, hey, Canoo is also LiDAR compatible, adding to its value proposition. That is true. He said, there's no reason for big companies to get on board with an EV only to have to scrap it for autonomous vehicles later on. True. Canoo has big advantage to that. That's very true. So they're already set up for that. I like that they have all the brands with it, like NVIDIA and stuff that's already working with it. I'm surprised like this didn't do well just because like NVIDIA and all those other people. Who's got this guy here? Silver dwdat said, hey, he gave a link and he said, please check this. He said MANDO's owner's father is brother of Hyundai's owner's father. Did you guys follow that? I said, okay, sweet. I wonder if Hyundai has some sort of green play they're working on. So what is he talking about? Oh, that was the comment here. Let's go back. Here we go. Yeah, so check this out. It's from Pulse News. MANDO expects exports steer-by-wire system to the U.S. Electronic vehicle startup for Canoo. This article is from last year, like literally a year ago, 11 months ago. So Canoo actually got their steer-by-wire technology they keep bragging about from someone else, which is fine, you know, but it's good to know. South Korea auto parts company MANDO Corp struck a deal to provide its proprietary steer-by-wire system to the U.S. electric vehicle startup Canoo, becoming the world's first company to commercialize the advanced steering technology that would underpin future vehicles. Under the deal, the Korean company will provide its steer-by-wire system over the next 5 to 6 years from 2021 to go over 500,000 units of Canoo, made electric cars and autonomous vehicles, according to the auto industry sources. It's interesting. Okay. And then he says, so in the live video you just posted, Canoo CEO talks something about they design everything in-house except the steering by wheel part, right? And MANDO is developing this wheel. MANDO's annual sales is $6 billion. Wow. And 60% is from selling parts to Hyundai. Huh. He said, I'm South Korean, he's a small investor, and I really feel something in this Canoo Hyundai MANDO relationship. He said, Kim Tae-ho, the co-founder to Richard Kim, I think he could be related to someone inside. Also, Lee Pak-dam, prime investor, is the fourth strongest man. I think he's saying fourth strongest investor, former Beijing mayor. So the former Beijing mayor is the fourth biggest investor in Canoo, or maybe in MANDOs, is what he's saying. And he's saying so Lee Pak-dam, his prime minister, is China's fourth strongest man and China's son-in-law. Okay, wow. So I think there is some kind of reason of why Hyundai is related or invested in Canoo. South Korea is half an hour flight to China. So in short, I think Canoo is not just a startup. It already had a big up company really happy to be part of this from the beginning. So he's saying that he thinks that there's more to the picture than all this, right? Like, he's saying that even though Canoo is getting their steer-by-wire from MANDO, like the same investors that are in MANDO are also in Canoo, and these are like some big high-up dudes in Korea and stuff. So that's kind of interesting to have all those ties, you know, because then you got the Hyundai and the Kia stuff too. So I don't know, you know. I mean, it could just be that all the investor, you know, a couple of the big head investor guys are like, you know, they're just talking around the office and they're like, yeah, dude, you need to get up on this Canoo thing, and then we'll hook them up. Let's hook them up with the CEO of Hyundai, and we'll get in that, and then we'll invest in that, and then flip that. You know, a lot of times that happens. We'll invest in the whole pipe, right? Invest in the whole pipe. That way they own it all. He said, hey, I saw this article. I think it could possibly help out Canoo. Okay. We had the guy who wrote this never wants me to name his name, so I don't. So he said, hey, I saw this article. I think it could help everybody out. So what is this article? It said, the bill would create month-to-month electric memberships, a bill that would provide California motorists with easy and affordable access to electric vehicles, to be considered by Senate on Sunday. Assembly Bill 326 creates a legal framework for automakers, commercial truck manufacturers, rental car companies to offer month-to-month electric memberships as an alternative to more expensive options of buying. Okay. Buying, leasing, or renting. A broader range of EV drivers, authored by Assembly members Almir Zatchigi and D. Torrance and Ben Allen D. Santa Monica. The measure is designed to make electronic vehicles available to a broad range of Californians, including people with low income and disadvantaged communities. Wow. The office estimates month-to-month membership could start at around a couple $100s a month. So basically, if you're low income and in California is saying they're going to actually start like help paying your monthly bill as long as it's like a subscription-based electronic vehicle. Who's going to pay that? The people making the most money in California. So I'm telling you, that 13% state income tax is going to go to 15. You just wait. You're paying for low-income people to have a canoe. The membership would also help the state meet its goal of having 5 million zero-emission vehicles on the road by 2030. Mass adoption of the vehicle will be slow to happen as long as electronic vehicles continue to be more expensive than combustion engine vehicles. I agree. That could definitely help out Canoo because they're like the front runner for subscription, really. I mean, it seems to me because they're going to have that Canoo out next year, right? 2021? Isn't that when it launches? That'd be perfect for low income, like even single moms that got kids or whatever, tote around the kids and that thing. I hope they're safe. By the way, do we even know that? Do we know that they've been crash tested? I'm sure they have, but I don't know. So I think that's pretty darn interesting. What do you guys think about that? Richard Holcomb said, hey, thanks for the content. One of the other vids, the entire analysis is saying, I don't like the CO and I want to buy a hot rod. Yeah. People are all claiming that, they want the fastest EV vehicle out there, but for a business, that's not the best business model, Would you rather own 5% of Ferrari or would you rather own 5% of Toyota? Huh? I'm excited about Canoo is what he said. I haven't seen it mentioned, but I read they raised $450 million before the merger. And I read something else that made me believe Blink was largely responsible for that $450 million. Know anything about that? And then he wrote again and said, hey, never mind, I found it. So I went to that link that you left, man, and I didn't see anything in there about Blink. So does anyone know any other correlation with the Blink charging in these guys? I don't know. And then as far as the $450 million raised before even Hennessy got involved, I think that's might be what the other dude up there was just talking about. Because I couldn't find much about that. I did find something that said approximately $300 million of the current transaction funding, according to Canoo, come from private investments in public equity or PIPE from investors including BlackRock Inc., one of the world's largest asset managers. And then I kept diving in. So Canoo actually used to be named EV Velocity, and they changed it to Canoo. I think it's good they changed it to Canoo. I don't know if Canoo's the best name, but I think it's better than E-Velocity. What do you guys think? So I dove in. So there's a discrimination lawsuit. Canoo, foreign bankers, EV startup, British Chinese government, huh? Stephen Krause, the former chief financial officer, CFO of both BMW and Deutsche Bank, is stepping down as chairman after shifting away from the CEO role last year. Krause is leaving ahead of the anticipated launch of the EV's first vehicle, which is slated to happen in 2021. What? So Stephen Krause, does that ring a bell? So this is the guy who used to work for Canoo for 2 years and 10 months. He was the head chairman of Canoo. He was getting sued for some drama. And then who picked him up? Daddy Fisker. Mr. Fisker. Henrik Fisker said, hey, come on over, man. We like people like you. You can head this thing all day long for us, bro. It's all good. So this gets kind of crazy. Did I leave it up? Here it is. Okay, so this is some drama lawsuit thing, but look at the funny thing is this picture here again is from a year ago. This article's from a year ago. This picture's from a year ago. This is the same picture that Canoo's given us. California-based company allegedly funded by businessmen linked to the British and the Chinese governments. So this is reconfirming what the dude up there was saying. Electric vehicle Canoo and its CEO Stephen Krause have been accused of discrimination, harassment, breach of contract, and wrongful termination in a new lawsuit. The suit, which was filed in LA Superior Court Tuesday by Christina Krause, baby mama, Canoo's former head of communications, and Stephen Krause's wife, also claims the California startup primary investors are a German businessman with ties to Buckingham Palace. Dude, if we got Buckingham Palace back in this thing, I could see these things in Europe a lot more than I could in like centralized America. Couldn't you? Drive around the European streets. And a Chinese tycoon connected to the Communist Party in China. In the complaint, Christina Krause says that despite being a founding employee, she was marginalized and increasingly pushed aside by her husband. Who are they still together? Because that's funny if they are. Who allegedly pressured her to sign a post-nuptial agreement while he was carrying out an affair. What does that have to do with Canoo? She also claims she was paid less than Canoo's other founding members. I'll stop reading there. If you guys want to read this, I'm going to leave it up there, but this kind of just keeps going. You know, a lawsuit coming from, sounds like probably some dude's ex-wife. I don't know, man. How can you carry away with that? What I'm going to leave it with is this company keeps reminding me more and more of Apple when it wasn't cool yet. When Apple was still looking totally boring like everything else, Microsoft, they decided to come out with something that looked like this. I think it's called the G3 or something. Does anyone still have this, or does anyone ever have this? When these came out, when was it, like year 2000? I think these came out, 1999. So when these were coming out, it just reminds me of the effect of how Canoo is happening with the community. Like, there's the people who get the tech and are looking at it like, man, this would be so fantastic, especially down the line, and so fantastic. I finally have a competitor with Windows, with PCs and Windows. And then look how cool it is. It's neat, it's cool. But the majority of the mass, when this was first coming out, were laughing at it. I remember going into Radio Shack and debating when this was out about buying a regular PC or this, and I was with my family, and the salesmen were just making fun of this thing. You know, it was the same thing with Canoo. People are like, that's the dumbest thing. Just look at it. Just look at it. It's so dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Just look at it. But that was the whole point. This was literally the splash that really actually put them on the map. Y'all heard the saying, there's no such thing as bad news for a business. Because even if there's bad, like, there's hundreds of articles out making fun of this when it was out. What did that do? It publicized it. It made it popular. Bill Gates could have done that. I mean, I'm sorry. Steve Jobs could have done that on purpose. What do you think? Did he purposely make it totally whack? I think so. Dude's smart. Dude's very, very smart. Anyways, that's what this company as a whole is reminding me of. I think that they are leagues and bounds above a lot of the people in the space. I think that they have a long ways to go and a huge future. They've got so many brands already tied to it, the Kia, the Hyundai, the Nvidia already with them, and they're already talking to the rideshare people. I could see this thing just so massive eventually when it becomes cool, you know. Now Apple is so cool, I can't even stand it, right? So the other day on another video about Lululemon, where I was talking about how when the mall opened, after this whole thing, when the malls finally started opening, there were 2 stores in the whole mall that had anyone at them. Not only did they have people at those stores, there were lines around the whole block to get into these stores. One was Lululemon and one was Apple. I don't understand the point of Apple stores. I don't know if I ever will. Maybe they're kind of like the coffee shops where people just sit there for like 2 or 3 hours straight. I don't know. I'll just never understand that. Maybe someone can explain it to me. What do you do in an Apple store? Every time I walk by or see it, people are literally just on phones. I don't get it. Regardless, I think the long-term play in this is going to be massive. The backing they have, everything, the whole big macro picture of it. What do you think? Am I just crazy? Am I secretly just falling in love with this ridiculously looking hot dog on wheels? Let me know in the comments. If you have any other plays or any more information about HCAC, please put it down in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do it. Any other plays you want me to take a look at, put those down in the comments too. Try to put out videos daily. If you haven't joined our Patreon, please do it. I always get to your stuff first. If you've got any plays or questions, I'm going to try to hit those as fast as I can, hit the charts. I'm also sliding you guys some really cool, neat deals a little bit before everyone else, even videos earlier, so you can get in a little bit before. All right, y'all have a good rest of the night. Take care.
Did you know that we give away free silver? Simply leave a comment on the video, and as long as you're in the continental United States, you can be automatically entered to win. Please friend us on Twitter and StockTwits.